Everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Eric and Liz show. We have two very exciting guests today. One is Teresa Yenque, and the other one
is Sonia Arletta.
And Sonia Arletta is up and rising star, in the artist world, and assisted you, well, more than once, as I understand,
Yes.
in your shows.
She's an artist, designer, and actually a creative engineer. She's very talented, very
we'll
gifted.
Come back to that because I love that, title of creative engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have one of our former guests, coming on and joining us in a little bit, Teresa Yenque, the actor, humanitarian, and he will tell us about how his documentary, is coming along that he's been doing, for Better Arts of Tomorrow. So something to look forward to. But
Liz, absolutely.
Liz, I do have to say, I love your love choker.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Thank you.
I love your love choker. So, what would you do to get in the mood to get rid of that choker?
You know what? The way I get in the mood is with these new lovely candles. I found this new business online, and it's called elizabethartist.com. She has some beautiful candles, and she's actually LVN. So, that's awesome. We need to support businesses. And I love some of her names that she has come up with. Black Sea. This is my favorite right here, Safe Space, and it's vanilla. She has one,
Space.
Safe Space. Yeah, it's like vanilla. And then she has one called The Odd Parents. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And The Odd Parents.
Yeah, The Odd Parents, that's okay. I mean, I probably would not combine that with your love choker, but but I think it's cool. So how did you said you came across it?
Yes, on Instagram. She's actually on Instagram and she's on Facebook, and her name is Danielle Salisbury, and she is a LVN. So we need to definitely support our, LVNs, that's for sure.
How did you come across her?
Just, scrolling down, and I saw these cool candles, and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to try this, So I just got my order last week, and I'm very, very pleased. And this is another one. It's called Lavender and Sage. And it's the name of the company is Elizabeth Artist. I love that name. That's my name.
Yeah.
So
I can tell.
Yeah. So
well,
you can go on elizabethartist.com. That's how you can purchase and support and get a few of her candles. She has all kinds of different ones, and this is a very new business.
Well, that is cool. I mean, we obviously we love to support new businesses.
Absolutely.
And you can never have enough candles.
Yeah, that's right.
It's one.
That's right.
I mean, it sets the mood.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
And hey, you know what? I cheers to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that is funny. I mean, you've been very, very busy. I don't know if our listeners know about, well, viewers know, we really do this, for fun, promote new businesses and just tell other people's life stories, which are inspiring and helping us getting over darker days in general. And so we talk multiple times a week, and you were really hard to get hold of this week. I mean, your masks are just flying off the shelves.
Yes, they are. They're just flying off the shelf. And I actually happen to have a couple of here's the cheetah print. It's
Of
like
course.
oh, this is really cool. It's
Oh,
fun.
actually, that would totally work with your love
My
necklace.
choker, huh?
Hey, I'm like, put that on, you put the candles on, you
Right.
that
Put the
whole
candles,
evening you spin.
your safe space. That's right. And then here's another one, and it's you can, and they're all you're so funny, and they're all reversible. All of my masks are reversible,
Yeah,
and I do want to encourage people, even if you don't wear my mask, please wear a mask.
I think we
Just
are
wear a
all
mask.
on the same page there.
Yes, wear a mask.
Yeah, I actually came up with a new mask idea.
Oh,
Um, yes, I do, and yes, I do not.
okay.
Just, you know, well, just, for you to wear privately,
Okay.
when it comes to less than 6 feet of separation.
Okay.
Oh God, I
Okay.
cannot believe it, but that is funny. So it was actually a fairly, quiet week, except that it was really, really busy.
Mm-hmm.
There. I mean, of course, more and more COVID cases coming up and
Right.
everything, which is kind of, you know, sad.
Kind of a bummer. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It is. So we just have to be, extra, extra careful. Like I said before, we have to wear our mask. I know sometimes there are some people that have a hard time with the mask, maybe breathing issues, but you can still put your mask on, kind of, angle it around your chin and still, when you need to put it on, just, pop it on
Yeah.
and then take it right back off. But it's definitely necessary, very important that, each of us do our part, because our medical industry is very overwhelmed, because I know my husband is a nurse. He's, one of those frontline persons, and, they would really appreciate it if we wear our masks, because it cuts down,
Oh. Well, yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not, how would I say? It's really, I think, in my eyes, not a political statement not
Right.
to wear it. That's more a
Hmm.
statement of, you know what, I don't really care about you as my neighbor or something like that. Um, I mean, we should show solidarity here. And, it's not so hard. I mean, yesterday evening we went out, little one was on his scooter and he's so
Hmm.
used to now having the mask on. And we actually barely take it off,
Right,
when
right.
people are around. I mean, you just get used to it.
Mm-hmm. You do. Yeah,
And,
you get used
and
to it.
yeah, and right now, it's needed. And I mean, the reality of it is, I don't feel that it cuts on my, personal rights,
Mm-hmm.
to wear the mask. I think it's more along the lines is, even that I don't have COVID or might not have COVID, what I'm doing is just showing that I'm with everyone else, that I don't want to pass it along if it's there and I don't know it.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well, at home, up, we take it off and hope that everything goes well.
Right.
That we didn't bring it in. I mean, you never know. I mean, I've never seen my son washing his hands so many times. I
Right.
sometimes have the feeling that the alcohol is peeling off my skin, but I guess, that's temporary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of. Well, you make sure you kind of lotion up too, because my hands get a little dry, just like everyone else's. Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
Absolutely.
So how is your husband dealing with that?
He's dealing with it, pretty good. Yeah, definitely. They're very, very strict where he works. So,
Yeah.
no visitors or, anything like that. No visitors at all. Yeah. And, everyone gets tested on a weekly basis.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
at least that's your way of making sure that, um, nobody transmit the virus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know, I was curious, and a couple of weeks back, I actually went to have a, not the do I have COVID test, but do I have antibodies test.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently I have multiple antibodies for different COVIDs, which
Oh.
distorted the test for COVID-19 to a
Mm-hmm.
point that they couldn't positively say what my antibodies are really for,
Oh,
except that they
wow.
cover some sort of COVID virus, which I was like, oh, great. Yeah, that really helps.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
Well,
Wow.
we're going to see, you know, how I'm like, there's nothing else we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just seeing, okay, Jose is just coming on there, and Sonia is there too. So
All right.
I'm going to admit both in.
All right. We have some lovely guests today, and we have one occurring. He's coming back for the second time.
Yeah, and Jose is coming back. And hello, Jose. Good to
Hello,
see
Jose.
you.
Hello, Sonia.
Hello, Sonia. And Sonia might be just on standby. So
How are you, everybody?
Oh, we're
good.
doing
We're
great.
good. How are you
We're
doing?
doing pretty good.
I'm good. I'm good. So you guys can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes.
All right, perfect. Yeah, because I got this little thing on.
Hey, Sonia.
Hello, Sonia. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good, good.
Well, thank you being here, and we will come back to you in a little bit.
All right.
But please, you're welcome, you know, to stay with us. You know, we have a big studio, so we have got a place for everybody.
Well, I'll just hang out here in the waiting room, you know.
You'll find here.
Yeah.
So, Jose, you know, we wanted you back on the show because we just wanted to get an update, you know, on your actors' life. Then, of course, you know, because we do gossip too. Well, it's going to be the first time on your
Gossip?
private
Ooh.
life.
And
then, of course, Arts for Better Tomorrow, you know, your documentary and how everything is coming along.
wow, that's you know what? We can do a whole section on gossip, but you know what? I'm gonna be really honest. You know, there's so much going on right now. There's a lot going on, and the thing is that there's a lot going on now that we're coming back, and you know the stores are opening again, and
Yeah.
and everybody's trying to get back into business. The industry here, I've had a couple of auditions. I've heard of a couple of friends who have had auditions, and it's now through Zoom,
Yeah.
or through Zoom, or you just video, you know, the kind of thing where you put yourself and your video, and then you send it in, and then they have to see if you know you're the right candidate, right? You know, what people don't understand is that I audition. You know, there's a lot of actors who still audition. Remember, there's like a whole new generation coming up. There's a lot of, you know, like a lot of 9-year-old directors and producers who are out there in Hollywood now. And so, you know, they're going to be like, who, what, you know, and so, you know, we got to go out there and we got to do our thing. And so between that and yeah, and, you know, I wear a couple of hats. So I'm doing the thing as an artist. I'm doing my hat, which is, you know, running the Arts for Better Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And also still developing new programs. And then also have the hat, which is me, which is the one who goes and gets his teeth checked out and gets his eyes checked out and
You
sits
really
around.
do that.
Do that.
We never really talked about that Jose, you know, the you person.
Yeah, you know, like I make green shakes that look like, you know, something that, you know, you just mowed the lawn. I drink these, I make them, and you know, I work out and I listen to, you know, to music, you know, and
All right.
the whole nine yards, you know. And it's interesting because the other day there's a group out of New York, and it's from a club that I used to go to when I was a teenager, and it was a club called The Loft, and not that many people know about it, but it was back in the day, back in New York, and it was all that it was pre-house music and all that stuff, and and somebody have a group, and I somehow joined the group, and you know, they're putting up pictures, and it just it just brought back so many wonderful memories, and you know, it makes you kind of think about, okay, what was I like back then?
Mhm.
What were my dreams back then? Are they the same dreams, or there's a version of that dream? And so it's been amazing, you know. It's been amazing. So we're still, you know, I'm trying to be at home as much as possible. You know,
Right.
I'm not you know, here in LA. Hey Sonia, where are you? Are you in LA or?
I'm actually in Escondido.
Escondido. Okay, well, you
Yes.
know, the numbers. You know, I keep seeing the numbers have gone up. You know, the numbers are going up, and they're saying, please stay at home and this and that, and the masking. So, you know, that's on the back of everybody's head, I'm sure, you know, at least it's on the back of my mind. And so just kind of living, you know, trying to plan as much as possible, but kind of doing everything day by day. Yeah. I do have fun. There's one thing that I got to share with you guys, and I'm so excited about it. You know,
Ooh, let us have it.
we had you know, our acting program is meant to, you know what it's kind of like? I always say our acting program has always been like self-help, right? For young people, right?
Yeah.
So young people it's young people from an inner city or from an orphanage in Tijuana. Are they going to go online like we would and say, you know what, I need to know how to meditate. I need to know how to calm, you know, my thoughts and how to, you know, organize them so they don't get the best of me. No. So, you know, we're offering these acting workshops through this, that's our thing, right? So we're doing a summer program through Zoom, right, for some of the kids. And I get these text messages yesterday and today. And this one was like, hey, Mr. They call you Mr. when you're teaching. Hey, Mr. Hey, looks like I'm doing good. I guess they can look online on their Schoology and all that stuff. And you know, a lot of people didn't think he was going to do it, you know, and he's doing it, you know, and he's like, thank you. You know, your class taught me something different. It taught me how to feel. And I was like, man, that's loaded. Taught me how to feel, you know? And so it was beautiful to get that, you know, on my, the message here. And it just made my day. It made my whole week. It made my year. This is why I do what I do. And I texted him back and I said, this is why I do what I do. This is what, you know, running a nonprofit is nothing, it's no walk in the park, but this is why I do what I do. And so I'm excited. I'm sweating because I just finished working out. It's not because I'm
That's okay.
yeah.
So how many kids have now gone through your program?
Man, in LA, since we started doing the acting workshops with the two different schools, I would say I think it's about 600.
Wow.
About
Oh, wow.
600. Yeah, and that's juggling between 3 instructors only. But yet, remember, we have, you know, the first part where the fall, and then we have the spring, and then this year we had all these kids graduating, these wonderful young human beings graduating, and you know, because of the COVID, you know, we couldn't have the graduation, right? In Tijuana, they, you know, the kids that were graduating there, they couldn't have the you know, the ceremony either. So what's beautiful is I had them sending each other messages of congratulations to each other. So at Highland Park High School, Irene Narvaez is the principal there, and she did, so, you know, they're very much into that, you know, definitely that emotional, social, you know, emotional wellness, and that's what I'm about. And
yeah.
so I'm a big fan of hers, you know, and so she did something where she had everybody who was graduating come by in front of the school. We decorated in front of the school, a little tiny little school, and they drove up like kind of like what you see on a red carpet. You know, they at the Oscars, they drive up and they kind of, and they make the announcement, and then they give them the diploma right through the, and they're with their parents, and everybody's there, and so I'm taking pictures in there, and everybody's so happy, and the parents are happy, and the kids are happy, and they decorated their SUVs or their cars. They put, you know, felicidades, congratulations, balloons, the whole 9 yards. It was beautiful. That was something that was really beautiful to see, because even through all of this difficult time that everybody's going through, you know, fear, confusion, kind of a little bit disorientation, they were able to like say, you know what, we're going to decorate this car and we're going to drive down, and you know what, my son or my daughter is going to graduate, and this is how we're going to do it. And of the instructors, right, of the school, there was only like 4 of us. You know, so it was a trip. So, Fernando, Diaz, and there's 4 of us going, yay, woo, trying to make the loudest sound, trying to sound like a big crowd, right? But you know, it was trippy. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So that, you know, that's been filling up, you know, my days, and that goes in the documentary that I'm.
That was actually my next question, if you wanted to incorporate that. So you must have some very strong moments there.
Yeah, a lot of moments, a lot of tears. You know, but tears are great though. You know, tears are beautiful. Man, I'm an actor, man. I you know, my whole business is like based on tears in front and behind the cameras.
Oh, great.
You know,
I'm like, oh, great. You know, I'm one of those guys, you know, I see a sad movie, I'm just, you know, bawling. And my wife is looking at me. I don't know the guy. Don't know him. He's not with me.
Feels good when you watch it.
I have a question.
Get into it. Yeah?
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
I'm really interested in you mentioned the online interviews for, you know, auditions, the online auditions. Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit of how does that work?
Well, we'll see what happens is my agent will, you know, the agents, they get the breakdown. So they're like, let's say they're making a new movie and they're looking for, and they have a list of characters that they're looking to cast. You know, most of the time, a lot of the main characters, you know, are cast already. You know, they throw in their usual suspects, the Hollywood, you know. And so they'll say what's available, right? You know, as I say, usual suspect is like, there's like the same sometimes.
I like it.
It's a lot, you know. Matt Damon, you know, in The Wall, you know, so that's another whole, no, that's another show. But yeah, so they'll get the call, right? The agent will look and they say they're saying Latino, you know, in the 40s, 50 years old, you know, whatever. And then, so then the agent will submit, you know, our picture, and we'll do a pitch. And so, you know, the agency has several people that are my type, that are my stature, my age range. So they do that. They choose who they want, and then they send you the scene. Sometimes they'll send you the script. You study it, you work it, you develop the character, and according to what the description they give you a little bit of guidance. Right. But at the end of the day, you really give it your flavor, because no people are like, and that's basically what it is. You know, you give them their part of, you know, the character and how they want to tell the story, and then you just give it your gasoline and your electricity and your oomph, and then you record it. You have somebody reading off camera, and then you upload it to the site. And yeah. So here's the wonderful thing is, I don't have to drive all the way to Burbank. I don't got to drive all the way to Sony Studios or you know.
Right.
I'm like right here, and so the last audition I had was the day before yesterday, and it was for a film, and I played like this character who's very, you know, very well off and very cultured, and you know, it's no accident. Every time I audition, I have fun, you know, I'm having fun, and so I had this great little suit on, but from the waist down, I was like in my shorts and flip flops. So it was a really cool look, you know. So you get to be comfortable and do your thing, prepare it the way you want, and then you submit it, and that's like that's how we do it. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and then if they really like you, then they'll call you in, and then you'll meet the producers and face to face. I don't know when we're going to start to do that again because of what's going on here in California, but you know, I think a lot of us are kind of disoriented. You know, we got so used to, and I'm not going to call these months of, you know, stay at home a staycation, because at first I was like, you know what, be optimistic, Jose. It's a staycation. You get to be home. You get to learn. I learned how to make, this kind of bread, and I learned how to make, you know, all this kind of food. I started cooking like crazy, and you know, I learned how to, you know, you're home a lot, so you get to do a lot at home. But it was difficult to be at home, and here you're home and relaxing, in your mind, there's like this World War, 17 going on,
Mhm.
Your thoughts are dancing and fighting with each other. It's trippy. So
Wow.
now to get back into auditioning and to get back to it,
Mhm.
man, it was pleasure. I had fun with that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's really good that, with your nonprofit, that you are actually able to connect with the kids because, nowadays they really need someone, and that's really good. That's awesome that you're
Liz,
keeping them occupied.
you hit it right on the nose.
Mhm.
They really need that support, and we know that no matter what leaders are out there, no matter who are, that we all feel, and we all felt something about what's going on. I've lost several friends to
Right.
COVID in New York, and it was difficult while that was happening. But a lot of the parents of some of these young people, some of them had to go to work at the hospitals. And so they were bringing a lot of that home. A lot of the house, they live in whether it's small apartments, they were cramming all these people in, and they were getting that cabin fever. And so, and I'm trying to do Zoom classes, trying to keep them, engaged.
Okay, right.
And then one of my other instructors, Chris, has his son is in a middle school, and trying to keep him in there, him trying to keep his students engaged. It was a challenge, but man, bring it. Challenges, just bring it. Come on, that's all you got. Bam. All right, that's all you got. Come on, let's go. That's what it was. That's what it was. Totally.
Exactly.
But that's great. It's just, keeping it going. I think we are all, somehow in the same situation. You can just let your arms down and get that big COVID wave, crash on you, or you can just try, to surf it and then, come out on top of it.
Yeah, surf it, and if you fall off your board and fall in, if you're way down there, you keep coming up.
Right.
You gotta
Get back up.
You know what? In Spanish, the students, I'm so grateful to be introduced, to this teaching stuff. I'm an actor, and I was taught to just, learn your lines, you learn your character, you learn your craft, and you go up there and you do your thing. It was just a wonderful thing to be able to teach another generation and help them use just the tools, the tool part, to help them, to teach it to them so that they can be like, whoa, this is who I am.
Right.
Wow, this is me. Oh yeah, I do that. Oh wow, I do sit like this. Oh, I do come off like this. Just to get them to know themselves, because that's the key. That's the oomph, and my kids, they always say in Tijuana, God bless them, and they'll say no hay otra. No hay otra. Well, you know what? Yeah, the COVID, we're gonna come out of it. No hay otra. We got to come out ahead. No hay otra. No hay otra is, what else you got? We got to do it. We have to do it. There is no hay otra. There is no other option. Option number one, there's only one, is move forward. Deal and move forward. So,
right.
Yeah.
How many of the kids are actually interested in acting? And could you tell us a little bit about, like, what are their interests, the kids in your nonprofit?
Well, what's interesting is, I think out of all the kids, maybe two. Nobody wants to, and I always call this an acting class for non-actors, right? And I really do stress it. It's really not, because it's for non-professional actors, because everybody's an actor. Everybody gets, and I'm not talking about lying. One time I had a kid say, "Hey, mister, thank you. I learned how to lie to my mom." And I was like, "Whoa, wait." I said, "That's not it. That's not it. It's, there's about two of them that actually were interested, one in Tijuana and one here. And they do have the gift, for sure. I think that they all have the potential gift to be professional actors that get paid to do it. But I mean, most of them, believe it or not, I have a couple who have come in wanting to be veterinarians. And then they make a turn, and then most of them want to be psychologists. So they somehow, I guess because one of the programs that we have is the development of character. And so they look at characters like the Joker or like, you know, something from a movie, you know, and then they kind of, you know, kind of break it down, and then we give them a chance to create their own character, then have it based on them. And you know, I think that they start to get into the psychology behind, you know, how an actor brings something to a character to life. And it kind of sparks that interest of psychology. You know, I want to be a, you know, I want to be a psychologist. I want to study psychology. I want to study, you know, that kind of stuff. And because we use a lot of the self-help stuff, and we use a lot of the mindfulness and that for the purpose of healing, they tap into that. They get the benefits of it. And what's beautiful is that then now they want to figure out, how can I help someone else? So that's the gravy. That's the gravy.
Yes.
And so if they want to be actors, Liz, you know what? I'll introduce you to my agent. I'll, you know, if you want to come out here, you know, make sure that you're ready. Then you got to be ready. You got to be ready. You got to. You can't show up there and think that because you know you're good looking or you're cute that you know. So you know that works a lot here in Hollywood.
It does.
Never had the impression.
Oh man, have you guys ever seen like a movie or a series and then you see some bad acting and you're like, oh. But you know, he's got a good haircut though. You know, oh, she looks pretty though. She got dimples. Okay.
Aren't they called your C movies? No.
No, they use those kind of actors in A movie in all kinds of movies. You know, it is. I'm not gonna lie. It is a business of you know who you know, and you got to be there at the right place, at the right time. And you know that the biggest film that I'm so grateful that I actually did was Traffic, right? And which is a movie that I turned down, and I turned it down like 4 times because I didn't want to play another, you know, Latino.
Bad guy?
The bad guy, yeah. I didn't want to play it, and it was like, and he was like Salazar's soldier number 1, and I was like, he doesn't even have a name, you know. And then oh, he does, and he's the Torturer. That's his nickname. I was like, oh, the Torturer, and the Torturer, and I do torture somebody in the movie. And I thought, you know what? I finally said yes to that role, and I'm glad I did, because that opened a lot of doors. It introduced me to Mexico. You know, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. In case you know people watching don't know, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I got to started the first visit with the first orphanage. I saw a need. Oh, okay, you guys need something more. You don't need new sneakers. You know, you'll grow out of them. What else do you need? You need something that's going to last you a lot longer. You need something that's going to help this and this. But I almost didn't do that. And it should be an anniversary. Let's see. We did that movie in 2000. Oh my God, it's 20 years. Whoa, it's 20 years.
It's been a while.
Wow. Oh.
But compared to the other actors, you still look younger.
Oh man, not all actors like to hear that, really. But it's okay. But I appreciate that. With the COVID, you're gonna see a lot of actors that now have this. They have the gray hair now. We kind of we started to let it come in. I can go see somebody. It's somebody's my hair guy. He's not working out of his house. I can go there and be like, hey, hook me up. But then I'm like, you know what? Let me see where this goes. We got that salt pepper thing, and I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, yeah. Or you could end up like John Travolta. You never know.
John Travolta with a toupee?
No, without it.
Oh, wow. No, I thought that was
wow.
No, maybe let me Google it. What up? No, I thought that was a comment. I thought everybody knew that. I like him a lot. I like him a lot. You want to see a picture of my dog? Here's my dog.
That's good. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't have gone there. But on this note, Jose, please stay on. Please stay on if you would like to. And we're going to move over to Sonia and
Sonia.
Liz.
It's nice to meet you. It's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you too.
And I love the artwork that is.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
All right,
Well,
so I'm
Liz,
going
go
to
ahead. Make the
I'm going to
introduction.
introduce the beautiful Sonia Arletta.
Sonia Arlita.
Arlita.
Yes.
So, oh,
My
Sonia
mom is
Arlita.
watching. You have to say it correctly.
Okay, Sonia Arlita, artist,
Yes.
designer, creative engineer, a good friend,
Yes.
and she's very gifted, talented, and her artwork is phenomenal. She's amazing, and I mean, she's truly amazing.
Thank
So
you.
here we have,
Thank you.
yes. So, Sonia, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your journey through art?
Wow, about myself, that is such a big thing. I mean, in a nutshell, I would honestly say I was probably born an artist, born creative. And I guess I believe that my mom, as is one of my big influencers, she's the one who literally encouraged me to pursue it. I had taken an art class and gotten a little jaded and stopped. And my mother was always the one that was behind me, you know, telling me to move forward, to take the classes, to use my gifts, you know, to just, you know, be active in it. You know, she never told me, I don't ever remember her ever telling me that you can't be an artist or go and get a real job or go and get a real education. From day one, when I decided, you know, or when I saw that I had some skill or I like to draw or things like that, my mother encouraged me to do just that. And so fast forward, you know, going to college, it's what I pursued. I originally pursued a degree in advertising design and then switched over to fashion design. So I did get a degree as a fashion designer. Yay! And then, yeah, life happens. You know, stuff happens. I had some children, you know, got married, had divorced, that kind of thing. So life happens. But shortly after I had my twins, I have 4 boys. That's right, 4. 1, 2, 4. All grown. Yes. Woohoo! But shortly after I had my twins, I decided to go back to school. And it never dawned on me to do anything but go back to school for art. And so going from 2 to 4 children, I actually went back to school to get my my bachelor's degree in fine art. I went full time, and it took me about 3 years longer than I thought it would. But
that's okay.
Because
that's okay.
And the support of my family, I did graduate with my bachelor's in fine art. So I will say I am 50 years old, and I'm okay with that.
Amazing.
But in that time, I have, you know, there's been times where I've been very active in it. I'm, you know, always painting, doing the thing. And then of course, you know, life, because 4 sons, they want to eat. So you kind of put that on the back burner and do what they call a real job. But no matter where I go, no matter, you know, what happens in my life, my art, my creativity is my touchstone. So, you know, you guys were talking about COVID and things like that. The thing for me is to go back to that creative roots and try to, you know, find that passion again. Even though everything around is kind of, you know, a little topsy-turvy, I know I can always rely on my art. I know that is something I can do no matter where I am. And so it's just, I say it's more than my passion, it's my lifeblood. It's like I can't walk away from it. I can't turn away from it. I have to do it. If that makes sense.
No.
Right. Oh, it does. It does. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So, Sonia, how are you dealing now with, you know, the way things are right now? Anything virtual that you're working on?
So, you know, I've spent, you know, I have to be honest, the whole thing kind of took me by surprise. I've been actually working from home since mid of March, like a lot of us. And so it's taken a lot of getting used to, you know, being at home, because everything is happening in my home. You know, my kids, you know, I have my sons, some of my sons are still in my home. You know, I deal with work stress. I'm on this big project, it's in my home. And then everything else that I'm going through, whether it's health, whether it's love, life, or whatever, it's in my home. And so for me, it has taken a bit of an adjustment to just get used to that. And as you know, I started a business in 2017 where I did paint and sips, and it was really picking up. I had, you know, appointments this year and was making plans and building events. And then, you know, like everybody says, and then COVID. And so what I have had to do is kind of transition how I think about my business, how I think about my art, because I had art shows planned. I had, you know, just a lot of things that I was going to be doing, because I was all about that this year. It's like, I even have on my vision board, I was going to be that person. And so I've had to like rethink how I do things. And so it's taken me a little bit, but again, it's those things that you can't let go of. You know, you're always, you know, getting some kind of insight. God is always like, hey, this is what. So now I'm actually gearing up to work with UCSD. They have a youth program there. And so I'm working with them to create a virtual program so that I can actually walk them through as if I was doing a paint and sip. So from there, there's going to be other events that I'm going to be, you know, partnering with people that are in my circle to try to create those virtual events to get things out there. We had a women's conference last year, you know, that was about being creative. And so now we're working on making that virtual. So it's one of those things where, yes, you know, things have shifted, but the reality of it is that's okay, because I have a creative brain. And so I can always be flexible and figure that out. So right now I'm just in the process. I got all these plans in my head. I'm like, oh. So that's what I'm trying to do. And then you may even see, you know, I may even get around. I'm working on a new body of work. I might even have a nice little virtual, you know, art show. So keep watching.
Right, exactly.
Oh, great. And you know what? Would you mind if I put up your website?
Please do.
We just walk through a little bit, you know, so we can show, you know, some of your art that you're doing, because it's you know, just very important, just for everybody to get an idea of what type of art. Well, what type of art? That sounds stupid. Sorry. Let me walk that back.
No, it's okay. What type of art?
No. Just, you know, art is something very personal, and it really lies in the eye of the beholder. I mean, you are the artist, you do it. And unfortunately, it's like in my old days, then people are going to judge you on the outcome. So if they didn't like the food, but you thought you did a great piece, oh shit, you know, and it's.
So if you want to get to the paintings, there's a link that says,
There we go.
Painting. Yeah.
On the way.
All right. So Sonia, you could walk us through whichever one of your pieces.
Okay, so
You're all beautiful.
Yeah. So what you're looking at right now is actually, with the exception of the drawing, I threw that in there because I like it. I think it's one of the things that I like to tell people is I'm absolutely fabulous with a pencil. That is my go-to. There's a nice little story about that. You know, I love to draw. I've always loved to draw. It's what I pursued. But then when I went to college, there was no drawing degree. So I had to jump into painting. And in the beginning, I was actually told that I could not paint. I was actually told that I was not a painter. And it actually, it kind of stopped me. It really stopped me. And I didn't really pursue painting again until, like I said, after I had my twins and I went back to college, because there was no drawing degree, I had to take a painting. And once I got into painting, I actually was not even able to get into a figurative painting class. My first painting class, when I went back to school, was a non-representational painting class. And literally that just meant paint on a canvas. So when you talk about being tried by fire and jumping in, that's kind of how I learned to get the paintbrush and stroke. So again, can you scroll back up to the top? Scroll back to the top.
Go back,
yeah, scroll back.
Okay.
So what I wanted to talk about here is the painting on, I guess it would be the left, the one with the nice little gold hair. She is most recent. She is actually the one I created after I became, I guess you can say, housebound. And she's that victory painting, that painting that was like, okay, you know what? I'm kind of going through some things right here, having to be at home, having to be, you know, isolated from my friends and family, going through whatever me and my family were going through. I needed to do something that was going to break that out of me, that was going to kind of give me something else to focus on. And so that one came out of that. And that was one of those, I call it Path to Promise. And it's about just thinking about what happens in your mind right before you take those steps to move forward in your promise. And I'm not going to give the I guess the symbolism away from the paintings, because I really don't like to do that. I like for the person looking at the painting to kind of figure out the story behind it. But just that was that painting that just kind of moved me past a bit of stagnation, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so the other of the two paintings that you see with the red wraps on their hairs, that was from an art event earlier this year. And what it is I participate on an annual basis in what they call an artathon. And it's literally 24 hours of artists sitting in an art studio actually creating art. And at the end of that 24 hours, all of the pieces are auctioned off to raise funds for a youth art program. So there's actually 3 in that series. And of course, I always like to have a theme. And so I literally, right before I went in to literally, you know, sit in that studio for 24 hours, I created what I call my signature red. And if you know anything about me, you know, red is my go-to color. That's my heart. I love red. And so each of the 3 paintings has that signature red scarf, and it's the same red throughout. So it's kind of a cool story. All 3 of the pieces were bought and sold, and so I was feeling pretty good about myself. As you were scrolling down, you can just see some of the. So that's the third one, the blue jeans and the red scarf. But if you scroll down, the paintings that you see after that are the paintings that I did for my first solo show in probably 7 or 8 years. It was a while. And so I did, and all of these paintings that you're looking at, they look small, but they're really rather large. And so these actually represent, honestly, a breakthrough in my own, basically, the way I see my work. In previous years, when I was in college and shortly after college, it was all about trying to create an image that people would like well enough to buy. Or that, like he was saying earlier, that somebody would go, oh my gosh, that really looks good. But there's no satisfaction in that if if the paintings don't resonate with me. And so after everything that I was going through, starting my business and stepping out on faith and doing that and becoming very successful, when I finally got around to creating the paintings for this art show, I literally just created images that I liked. It never dawned on me that somebody else would like them. It never dawned on me, and I didn't care if somebody bought them. I painted what made me happy. And of course, the results of that is quite a few of these paintings have actually sold. And so I no longer have ownership of them, but I was the most proud of this body of work. I'm more proud of this body of work than I had been in many years, because it reflected my own ideas of beauty. And if you notice, all of my work is figurative, and most of it features the African-American female. But what I like about my work is I don't just stick with one color. I don't just stick with one type of image. There are so many levels and so many facets to the Black female that there's so much vocabulary there, for lack of a better word. And so when I create these images, I always imagine all the different varieties of skin tones, the different ways that we do our hair, the different styles we have, the age that we have. I mean, it's just, there's a cornucopia of information or ideas that you can show just using the Black female. And so I'm very partial to it. I had a professor who told me, hey, paint what you know. So guess what? I paint what I know.
Exactly.
So,
I was actually at that event. I was there. I was at that event. It was.
You were.
Yes.
Yeah. So I paint what I know.
And I know she sold everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
beautiful.
Oh my God.
They're
Beautiful.
So these set of paintings were actually done at the year prior at the same art event, the 24 hours. And I actually managed to get 4 done that year. Yeah. And they all were auctioned off and sold. So.
Beautiful.
Well,
Thank you.
I guess, sorry for telling it, but I know that Liz wanted to make sure that you got credit also for these following paintings. Can you see it?
No.
No.
Hold
No.
on. You can't see that.
It was actually for a charity event.
I seem
And
to always be doing stuff for charity, don't I?
well, not necessarily, but you know, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. If we can get it pulled up.
So right now you can't see the screen?
No,
we can see the
it's not
screen.
on.
Ha, interesting. Well, hold on. Let me see. I come back to the thing. You know, it was funny. I was this morning in a Zoom meeting where exactly that happened, and I was like,
Oh, there we
great,
go.
that's not going to happen to me.
There
And
we go.
ba-bum, it did.
Yeah,
So
that's
these paintings are actually a throwback to my fashion illustration days.
yes.
Um,
And it's
yeah.
life size. Can I say that, Sonia?
Oh yes.
It's
Yeah, they're about, what,
huge.
6 feet,
Wow.
6 to
Yes.
7 feet tall.
Yes,
Yeah,
huge.
they're pretty big.
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah, they're
I
huge.
don't know. Is that someone I know?
That's my friend.
These are
That is
beautiful.
my friend, Miss Liz. Yes.
I think that was the inspirational picture.
Yes.
One
yes.
similar. Yes. Yes.
So, Sonia, can I ask you a question? Do you do one-on-one, like teaching, sketching, and things of that?
I have been known to do that. Yes. So, you know, back in the day but yes, I do, you know, by special request. I don't have anything that I'm actively promoting right now, but I have been known to do one-on-ones, you know, again, with my business, Artistic Flows, you know, that becomes a group thing. And it actually turns into more than just a paint type atmosphere. I've been told that it actually feels like an art class. So, but yeah, I have been known to teach.
Right. Sonia, can you tell our guests and our viewers how they can contact you?
Yeah, I can give you my phone. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I know you're looking into doing some virtual sip and paints. And, you know, that's awesome. Awesome.
The easiest way to contact me is if you do go to my website, which is www.sa-creatives.com. There is an information request form on my site. If you'd like to see some of my images of past paint and sips and things like that, you can find me on Instagram, and that's simply Artistic Flows. And it's artistic with a K and not a C, because of course I have to be different. And then flows just like it says. Yes. And then if you're just looking for me personally, I am under Sonia Arlita on Instagram and Facebook.
Sonia Arlita.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
But just tell us about that Artistic Flow mobile paint and zip.
So there's always an interesting story about like literally everything in my life, but I believe I'm going to attribute this to my older sister. And my older sister told me several years ago, I hate to even say that, but she told me several years ago that this was something that I could be good at. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And then at some point, I forget what I was doing. And all of a sudden I had this epiphany, and I said, you know what? I'd like to do a paint and sip business. I like to teach. And it was literally something, again, to revitalize my creativity. It wasn't so much about people, but it was something I needed to do to kind of get my juices flowing, so to speak. And so I literally I posted something on Facebook. You know how we do. We want all of that you know, feedback. And so I posted it on Facebook, and I asked people. I said, hey, you know, what do you think about me doing a paint and sip? And of course, I got all this positive, you know, response from it. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So then I began searching, looking for people that I could do it for, like other people's businesses. And I reached out, and wouldn't you believe it, nobody got back to me. And the one person that did, we never could connect. And so I finally said, okay, you know what? I'm going to step out on faith, and I'm going to do this on my own. So I began to research, where can I find the supplies? How can I set it up? And as soon as I put it out there that this is something I was doing, literally within months, a friend of mine was like, hey, I want to have one. And so we met for lunch. We hadn't seen each other probably in years. And we met for lunch, and she was my first client. I had like 6 people show up. They absolutely love it. And from that, I had another, and I had another. And so the name itself, from the idea that artistry, business, creativity goes. But when you come to one of my event, again, it's not about you creating this preconceived image that everybody is going to create the same. It's actually, again, a way to get your creativity flowing. And so when you talk about artistic flows, it's not necessarily a noun. It's about, I guess, a process or a function or the spirit of creativity, if that makes sense. So my business is mobile. I go to people's homes, I go to different venues, but then I also host my own. I partner up with a wine bar here in Escondido named Sips, and we have certain events. I partnered with friends. We used to do a paint and sip and groove, and we'd have live music. I even partnered with a friend of mine, and she did an inspirational message, and then after she did the message, we did a paint and sip based on the message. So, and even when I go and I do my own events, it's usually something that has to do with identity. I have those kind of programs. If you're looking for something to kind of have meaning and not just be an image. And of course, we always have fun because it's me and I'm a little weird. But there's so many doors that has opened because of doing this business. And as you can see, that year that I had that art show, my skills as an artist improved drastically. Like, because I'm sitting there teaching everybody else to paint, then it actually informed the work that I do. So, yeah.
Right.
That is wonderful. I
That
like
is.
Liz,
That is
go
awesome.
ahead. I know you have another question lying there.
Oh no, I just wanted to make a comment on how I know how in tuned and gifted she is. I was struggling one time. I said, because every year when I do my fashion shows, I name them. For some reason, I had a blockage. I couldn't figure it out. I said, let me call Sonia. And I called her. I said, Sonia, can you please help me think of my theme for my fashion show this year? She said, let me call you back in about 15 minutes. She called me back. She said, live, love, fashion. So that was my theme for the show. And everybody loved it, so I just want to online give you credit for doing that.
Thank you.
You know how much I appreciate that. I was really stuck. Sometimes us artists, we have, blockage sometimes. It just,
see, that's why you need me, because it's all about the flow. It's the artistic flow. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Oh, that is good. We all have that, and it's just great to hear people going forward, and when you're saying you aren't, sorry if I mention your age again, you aren't.
I'm 50.
Exactly.
I look 35, but I'm 50.
Yeah, you look 35. You look young.
And the funny part is, if you would speak today to a 20-year-old, and say, hey, what do you want to be when you're 50? They are like, well, first I have to get to that age. And unfortunately, I think that they don't have that open mind to carry that from their 20s till they get 50 and say, hey, I still have a dream here. I haven't lived. And there is, I think, no age restriction for living your dreams. I mean, it's sure that there will, with a certain age, you will have certain physical inabilities, mental inabilities, and I think we're very aware of that. But still, to that point, there's still a lot of time to dream, and to do things.
Here.
Yeah, so little story on that though. Interestingly enough, a lady went and told my mother, and I think she was a minister or a missionary, but she told my mother that, and I was young at the time, and I think I was just starting out, but I remember my mother coming and telling me that I haven't begun to tap into my gifts. And the one thing that I remember from that is that if you use your gifts, whatever little bit that you have, if you use that with sincerity and honoring it, it grows. And so when I sit here and I look at myself, and I can look back at myself when I was 21, and I had some very basic skills and they were pretty good. But when I look at where I've come from, because I have always been willing, like you said, I always do things for charity. I always do things to help because I've been willing to do that. I think that is the primary reason why the gifts grow. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why, yes, I am 50, but there is so much more that I had before me than I had behind. And for me, it's like, I'm excited to see the next chapter. I'm excited to see what else I can do with my gifts. I'm excited to see the doors that open. I'm excited to see who resonates with my work. I'm excited to see how people feel about it, what stories come alive, what inspiration is taken from what I do. I'm excited to see that, and I'm happy as a clam to be 50.
I know, that's right. Exactly.
Ain't no stopping us now.
Let's do
That's
the
right. That's right.
Right now with the average, and oh gosh. I'm like, let's see. Do you have any questions for Sonia?
No. I agree with you, Sonia. There was a thing that you said about the, draw what you know, or paint what you know, and it just resonates because like with the kids, even with myself, with the writing, you write what you know, and with the kids, when we say, they see all these Hollywood films and stuff, and they're moved by them, even like the Marvel comics or the DC comics, the movies, and special effects. Those stories, they come from somewhere, and they come from somewhere, and sometimes you just got to just turn around. Sometimes nobody wants to look at the mirror, but turn around and look at yourself and say, what you, instead of reaching out here, just, you can reach and you'll find it right in here. And it is enough. It is more than enough. That's the key. And so, to put this into even with the pencil, Sonia, when you're doing the pencil, and I have some of my students that do that, and I look and they're like, oh my God, who did that? And sometimes it comes from what they've told me. Oh, I get nervous, I get anxious, and oh no, keep doing that. If that's what's creating, it's coming out of that. It's beautiful to see that. So when you said that you first with the pencil, and then you went into those waters of the paint that was new for you. That's beautiful. And I love that. I love that you said about the being 50 and this new chapter. It just go with the flow, and like Eric said earlier, it'll be surfing. And by the way, I don't surf. I'm from Brooklyn.
Me either. No surfing.
Neither do I.
No surfing.
I take the train like everybody else, and so there'll be times where you fall, and when you're in there, you're like, wow, oh wow, look how beautiful the water's, it's way up there, and I think that's the key, because even with in the business that I'm in, where it's all about age and they want everybody just to be really, really, really young. Go with the flow. I mean, I like I said, I came out here as an actor. This teaching thing was all new, and they feed each other. I started writing. I never wrote before. All of a sudden that, so, instead of saying like, instead of saying, why not, instead of saying why, just say, why not, just go with it. And you're like, definitely.
Yeah,
and the work
amazing.
Was beautiful. The work was beautiful to look at.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And can I make a little suggestion too? Because you never know how, like product placement, Jose, if you ever know of, when you're doing your movies and how they place products and, artwork. Hey, give Sonia a call.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Give her a call.
I'm ahead of you. I started to write it down, like saying, okay, you know what?
Yes.
Because the documentary is based on you know, all this stuff that's
Right.
going on, you know, on both sides of the border.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about really getting to know yourself, and me working with these kids to make sure that they get to know themselves. And when I was looking at some of the profiles and the beautiful features that I saw in your work, Sonia, I saw a lot of my kids, you know, a lot of that, and it's deep and it's beautiful, you know, because some of it could be painful, some of it could be, you know, just, you know, melancholy, but it's all beautiful. And I saw that and I was like thinking poster, movie poster.
Right.
So
I'm just putting it out there. You never know.
All right. We'll be in touch.
Don't forget, there's going to be, you know, a copy of this on YouTube. You can always hold in for that. You know, you're just going, what's it? Do you remember that show? You know.
Yeah, why not? That's how, you know, we're surfing. I think that's how you surf. I don't know.
But like I said, you know, I think it's a good analogy that even that I can't surf, and obviously none of us is a surfer, but we can very well imagine it, how it feels, the gliding and all that. I think that's what, you know, fantasy is for it. You know, for me, it's amazing to have you, Jose, on one side, on the acting side, you know, and then have you, Sonia, on the other side, the painter side, which are so much triggering imagination. You know, the actor in his play, where you go and, oh my God, there's a new world opening, not just through the impersonation of that character. And then you, Sonia, you look at the painting and you see emotion. You know, even that, you know, it's a painting, it's a still. But there's all that, what's coming out of the picture and just talking to you. And of course, it talks to everybody differently, but, you know, it's like a movie. There's the pro, there's the cons, but you get something out of it. It gets emotional. And I think that that's what really the fascinating thing. And I'm looking at you, you know, Liz, and when I see those, you know, clothes that you are designing and making so many women happy. I'm sorry to say she doesn't do anything for men. She just designs for women.
That's coming.
Okay,
You know, that's coming.
It's all good. Well, at least you're doing the masks now, so, you know, even I can wear them.
Right.
Tried them on my head, looked really good.
Okay. All right.
But Sonia, would there be anything you would like to ask Jose? You know, he's there. He's just next to you.
Yes. Pass me my drink, man. No. No, I just, I was listening to what you were saying, and I actually have one of my sons, one of the twins. He is actually attending Chapman University, pursuing a degree in acting.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Congratulations.
So I was just kind of like, oh, okay. So that kind of warms my heart. I'm, you know, kind of proud of him. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
What about a little mentorship?
Mentorship. Well, you know, with when somebody's like going through this type of programs, man, they get thrown so much at them. They get thrown different styles. I don't know if you know, like an acting program, they're throwing all kinds of style of acting. So you're learning kabuki, something that you know, like you would never think that you're learning voice, you're learning movement, you're learning mime, you're learning all this stuff. They're really gonna round him off, and then he is going to choose, Sonia, he's gonna choose, okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of this Meisner technique that worked for me. I'm going to use a little bit about, maybe he might be learning sense memory, which is, you know, what the, you know, many of the old Hollywood actors like James Dean used to use, where they relive every moment and they really take it from their own, you know, their own personal life. He might use some of that. He might, you know, you never know, but I'd be more than happy to speak to him if, you know, if you, I mean, I'd be more than happy, because it's something where you can learn, get all this information, learn, But now when you put it, into practice, when you show up onto a set, and then you put everything that you learn and you just kind of like throw it to the back seat, and then bam, I got the tools, now be present and then enjoy the moment. Enjoy when something doesn't go your way. Enjoy when the director says, oh, you know what, you're not going to be standing here, you're going to be sitting down there, and we're going to switch your lines. All that fun stuff, all those curveballs they throw at you, that's where you grow, and that's where you live. And that's, I'm sure, ask your son about this, Sonia, is that with a lot of actors, they always say, oh, when I'm on stage, I feel alive. When I'm doing a monologue, you'll hear that, I feel alive. And it really does, it's about a person bringing life to a character and using all of his senses and using his heart and his soul and putting it into that. And time flies and you're there, and it's a beautiful thing, So, I mean, I know that he's going to connect with that, when I'm on stage or in front of a camera, I feel alive. And that's the best thing, is to feel alive. I'm a big fan about that,
Yeah. There is a question I wanted to ask, and that's actually for you, Jose. I'm like someone, I cannot retain anything, no poems, no nothing. And that was always the worst for me at school. When you had to go, you had to learn a poem and you had to recite it. So now you're the actor, and there, I mean, stage actors, I have no bloody idea how they're doing it. I mean, in a movie, I've seen those things, whiteboard, you can kind of support your actor with your dialogue, but how bad is it in reality?
You know what, I gotta say, it's good. It's good in reality, because there's not, when you get to know, this is why I go back into, character, right? Knowing your character. If you really know your character, and I'm talking about even knowing some of his history, if I'm playing a villain, what was that turning point in my life that got me from walking the good path into this crooked path, right? Why? What makes him tick? What is he like? What kind of people does he like to be around? All that stuff. When you have that down packed, and you're studying your scene, or you're studying the script, and you know the story, and you know your piece in that story, your little piece in that big puzzle, when you just go over the scene and get to know it well, that's how I do it. I just know what I'm saying. I know who I'm talking to. I know what I want from that person. And if you really think about it, we do that in real life. Like right now, I'm talking to you, Eric, and what my objective is to make it clear to you of what my process is on learning my dialogue. And learning and bringing that dialogue that the writer put together and bringing it to life, right? With going along with the intention of being the puzzle, the small piece in that big puzzle, right? So I gotta confess, I worked on Days of Our Lives I did 2 years, and it was difficult for me. It was maybe 15 years ago when I first got here, and it was hard. You know why? Because they threw these big giant paragraphs, pages at you, and you learn them the night before. And it was really hard, and I didn't have that concept of get to know what you're saying, and it was really hard, but I did it. But I managed it, but it was hard. After that, Days of Our Lives, anything that I learned, any TV show, if they do changes of the script, I've managed. And like I always tell everybody, just know what you're saying. And if sometimes you'll get a character who's like what they call that bullshitter, that person who's kind of that con artist, and I played those too. And you still, you talk around the truth, even get to know why you're talking around the truth. What do you want from the other person? And it becomes a game, and it just becomes fun. So that's the way, it's know what you're saying, and that together with this and connected with this, and it should be fine. Totally, it should totally be fine.
Sonia, so
Yes.
have your son watch a part of this episode?
Okay.
Let's take that
Well,
advice.
let's be honest. My son is watching the episode because his mommy is on it. I'm
All
just
right.
Yeah, there you go.
That's cool.
So
let's
that
be
was,
real here, okay?
You know-
Yeah, there you go.
I like that added value. But Sonia, I'm sorry, you know, I'm cycling back. So now we're in that virtual environment, and how, what's your next step, do you think? Because we don't know how long that situation is going to go on, and you know, it seems the more we go into it, you know, maybe we are 4-6 months from going back to semi-normal. And for you, it's very important to actually interact, you know, with your clients.
Yep. So, and that is one of the things that I think I have struggled with a little bit as far as, you know, pursuing and trying to do something with my paint and sips, because I'm not just that instructor that sits there and says, hey, step 1, step 2, step 3. I actually interact with my students, you know, giving them one-on-one attention, one-on-one instruction, and that kind of thing. But I think, not being funny, I think my personality is big enough that even if I can't get to you right there, I will certainly figure out how to make you feel like you are interacting with me. And so even though it's a virtual environment, I think because of who I am, because of, you know, the love that I have and the care that I have for people, and wanting to help them, you know, kind of explore or tap into their own God-given creativity, I think making that transition won't be easy, but it's definitely going to be doable. I just have to be really creative and intentional about what I do. So if it means, you know, I package up everything really nicely and I ship it off to them and we all sit together, you know, on the virtual call, then that's what we do. So that's what I'm moving towards now. Like I said, with the event that's coming up, a youth group, you know, that's one of the things I'm having to work through. Once you have yourself, the adversity, creativity, once you find yourself in a position where you don't have any, you know, of your normal options, you step outside of those and you create something great. So because my skill and all of that is visual, I kind of have a leg up on, you know, if I was doing something else. So, you know, it's not, like I said, it's not going to be easy, but I definitely feel like it's doable, and I have a path, I have a goal, I have a roadmap, so to speak, on how to do it. And I might, you know, again, might stumble and fall, and then, you know, I might be uberly successful. No.
And
Yeah, I believe you will. I will. You will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
You have that big personality. Yes.
Sonia, we will talk to you again,
Thank you.
3-4 months from now, and just see what happened, because it's like we say, you know, having a look back, we were just at the very beginning of the pandemic, and things have changed.
Yeah.
Man,
and
you know, we had that interview. My eye was twitching like crazy, and I'm trying to keep it together, you know, and you know, and I knew that my kids, some of my students were going to be watching this. I'm like, man, I got to be strong for everybody. But in my head, I'm like, oh, what's happening here? So that it's good to see you guys after, you know.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
We wrote it, you know, we wrote it out, and
yeah, we sure did.
And we got, and we still have, you know, some more to go, you know.
Yeah, we look forward to having you guys back again, Sonia.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question. So I was told that I needed a drink. I'm trying to figure out where I got my drink.
I've been drinking.
Made me a drink.
I've been drinking.
yeah. Oh, you got one. Look at you. You got. Okay, let's
My
toast.
son made me a
Let's
drink.
toast.
Cheers.
To the future looks bright. The future looks bright.
The future looks bright.
Well, cheers to that. And on that happy note, see you all in the future.
See you, Sonia. See you, Jose. Thank you.
All
right.
Sonia, we're going to
Thank
be in
you.
touch, Sonia. All right.
All right.
Connect us. Okay,
Okay.
Eric?
Yes.
We will. Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.